Hi, so I'm really excited tonight. We have got a great topic lined up because I want to talk about, well, a few different things really, but especially what you can do to give your career as a healthcare professional. So that doesn't matter whether you're an energy medicine practitioner, a yoga teacher, a health coach, whatever it is that you're working with in healthcare, then I want to give you some techniques and understandings of how to take your practice to the next level. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And yeah, I'm really keen to talk about this. I've taught a lot of people, and I see some things in people's energy fields that we would class as a natural healer. But I want to tell you, it's not natural. It's a learned skill, and everybody can learn it. So, hi, I see loads of you already. Anne and Laura, Claire, Eleanor. Wonderful. We've got some lovely people already joining us. Oh, that's nice tonight. Petra, and of course, as ever, let me answer your questions, ask your questions so that we can get a really good discussion going. This is a massive topic, yeah? How to really engage with your healthcare practice in a way that helps it really thrive, almost have an energy of its own. That's the difference between healthcare practices that really thrive and that you're always working to create. And I've been in both situations in myself. I've had 20 years in healthcare and in private practice. And sometimes you're really kind of feeling, I'm trying so hard and I've got some clients and things are kind of eking away, but they're not thriving. They're not almost being created, not through your will, but through something else, through a connection or alignment with your energy field and your practice. And that's what I want to be talking about. So, hi Anna and Patricia. Thanks, Claire. Nice hair. Went to the hairdressers today, so as ever, this is the only time it looks kind of put together. Hi, Vicky and Chrissy, Annie. Wonderful. Lily, I'm glad you love this topic. So do I. And it's really interesting because this is a topic that is super close to my own heart. On this weekend in Bristol, I'm teaching 2 days on it, which is why I've decided, right, let's put it out now, because one of the things that really has it's kind of astonished me as I've been working to really put the class together and the handouts and everything else is that this topic I've never really talked about in one package before. So the class at the weekend is practitioner consciousness, you, your client, and the healing field. And the title says it all. And it's so fascinating. Like in the last few years, sometimes I've put out classes about very specific protocols, how to work with women's hormones, or how as a practitioner to work with adrenal health. Those classes get packed. They're great classes, big classes. Everybody's interested in that. When I put together a class on something like consciousness, practitioner consciousness, then it's interesting to see the people that really feel the call of that. Often it's the people who are already working with practitioner consciousness, and there's no small irony in that the very people that I would be loving to share this information with, the people that don't always be aware that that's what's needed in their practice. So yes, there's humor when I come to putting together a class like this, because I would say that level of consciousness that you bring to your practice is the single biggest determinant in the health of your practice and client outcomes, and how well you can actually hold your energy field as a practitioner while you're working. So for me, it's been central to my practice since very much since I started. And I think the benefit of that is because I can see energy, I can see the way that energy fields interrelate. And what became very apparent when I very first started working with clients in my early 20s, actually before that. So I was the person in the family, I'm sure you are too, that if your brothers or sisters or your dad had a bad back, then you would be the one that was asked to rub it or massage it or just do that stretch or put your hands on it, because so many of us, in fact, I would say all of us, have that natural healing ability. And when we're little, we use it much more because we haven't got the programs in the brain that says, I can't do that. And of course, when we do it when we're little, then actually that can really help us move into wanting to work in the healing profession. So whether it was when I was little and working on my dad's back or my brother's back, we're a big farming family, so there was always accidents around, always bad backs or broken legs or something happening. I would see that as I approached the person to begin working with them, there was my energy field. There was the energy field of the other person, but then there became an energy field around us both. And it changed our fields together. It changed the color, especially, of my energy field and of the energy field of the person we're working with. It's like as we came together to work in a healing capacity, then an added consciousness was placed inside the sphere that we were working with. Now, when I've worked with teaching, maybe I'm in a room and there's 100 students and they're working on each other, so 50 students are working. There's probably 5 or 6 students that have this natural field that comes around them and the client. And that's what I want to be teaching about, because that natural place that the student starts off with, maybe in class 1 or 2 or 3, as the classes go through, it's no longer 5 students out of 50 that are holding that different field. It's 10, 20, 25, 30. So we have this concept that to be a healer, which itself is a pretty loaded context day, but to hold the field of healing, to help someone heal themselves, to hold that sacred space for transformation. For some people, it is a skill because of their character, because of their life experiences. But for everybody, it can be a learned experience of how to actually engender and create that healing field through your consciousness. Cool, eh? Right, let's see if there's any questions that have come in. Hi, Eva, and lots. Wonderful. Let's have a look. Claire, you're working this weekend, so you can't join us, but you know, we are live streaming. There are so many requests for live streaming the event that, amazingly, the fabulous women that are around me on the team put it all together. So we will be live streaming. All right, no questions coming in, but come on, guys, bring your questions, because this is such a big topic. I want to make sure that we really get to where you need to go. So let me keep talking. So we've got this energy that comes into play, and it's fascinating when it does, because when that healing field gets created through your awareness of it, that's a really big thing. So when you're a beginner student and you come into that place of having to work with a client, and this really, I mean, this is whatever healing modality you work in. I've seen talk therapists who are working and talking with their clients, and it's just the same massive healing field that comes around. Reiki therapists, yoga teachers. We don't sometimes think about yoga teachers as actually being healthcare professionals, but of course they are. They work to bring in this massive space for us to then find our alignment within. That's healing, yeah? So there's this energy that comes in play. And when it does, there's a few things that immediately happen to you as the practitioner. The first thing is your groundedness deepens massively, which is good, because in your practice, you are the medicine. It's not what you do. It's really not what you do. And, you know, having been a teacher of protocols for many, many years, is kind of ironic that I'm saying that, but that ability to connect into the consciousness of transformation, to connect into the healing field, doesn't come from a particularly brilliant protocol or a particularly poor protocol. It comes from you. So I have the huge fortune to have a cranial osteopath that's close to me. Here, living in Cornwall, I have very few other Eden energy medicine practitioners, but I do have this cranial osteopath, and she's an incredibly gifted healer. So it doesn't matter what she had trained in, she would have had a highly successful practice, because she can come to the client, hold the space around them for their transformation, and then work with her level of training. So no matter what modality you're trained in, it's not what you do, it's how your energy is while you're doing it. It's that ability to hold the space in between you and the client, because it's where that point of connectivity is that the real magic happens in a session. And that's kind of a big thing to learn. It's quite a big thing to learn to keep your energy fields completely intact. How many of us, and I think if I could see hands now, probably every single one of us would put our hand up. We want to help our client, yeah? That's why we're called to this way of working. We want to help our client. And actually what can so often happen is that energy spills out of us over and into the client's system. Okay, well, at that point, we're not necessarily holding the energy of transformation for the client anymore. We're holding all kinds of great intentions and lots of compassion and empathy and all kinds of other things. But you'll know yourself that your biggest moments of transformation has been when someone's been able to stand beside you and witness your movement, your growth. And that actually, if somebody's right there in your face, loving you up, giving you cups of tea and biscuits and anything else, that it's difficult to move. It's difficult to shift that level of energy or consciousness, because they're the same thing, that you were already in. I hope that makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, then call me on it and I'll explain it in a different way. So the practitioner's job is to hold that space of transformation for the client, not to spill out over them or to be so unapproachable that the client doesn't feel safe or held or seen. So actually, we work in this really amazing liminal zone, the place in between. That's a very, very exciting place because it's filled with potential. That is the magic of that place. When we work with a client, we work with absolutely whomever, whatever, however walks in our clinic, yeah? We're going to be in a place of no judgment. We're going to be a place of wishing to hold the greatest potential for that client. So it's the place of present and potential, and that's what exists in this space that we can create, this point of connectivity. Let's see if there's any questions. Katie, that's a great question. How do you intentionally set up the field? Hi, Martha. Eleanor, I haven't been working on clients where I'm going through my tricky past few years as I didn't want to adversely affect the therapeutic field. How do I best redress my own balance to become effective once more? The daily energy routine and other exercises are good for you, but not enough for you to hold a good field for somebody else. I love, love, love it, Eleanor, that you are so self-aware that you can really identify when is good for you to work and when isn't. So first of all, awesome kudos for that, because that's a huge learning in itself, isn't it? I'm sure every one of us has worked at times when we really know, if we're being really honest with ourselves, we know my energy field isn't really up to creating that beautiful, powerful space. So 2 questions there. How do you intentionally set up the field? And how do you redress your own balance to become effective again? Let's take that second first. You know what, Eleanor, I'm going to suggest you do, knowing you well, is that you begin working. Now, That's not necessarily the advice I'd give to everybody. But if your energy field is, so let me, Eleanor, you asked for more than you knew I was going to say. So Eleanor's energy field is a great big earth energy that wishes and holds into that healing field very, very, very naturally. If I was talking about a student that can naturally connect that field, then Eleanor, you're definitely going to be in that category. So, and partly that's because of your huge compassion. Yeah, compassion creates a field. All you have to do is make sure that you hold your field to you. So I would say with you, Eleanor, that while you've been going through your own processes, actually what will have happened is that your ability to hold that healing field will simply have got bigger. It would have got bigger. You have expanded your levels of consciousness. And in doing so, your ability to connect into that healing field will be bigger. At the same time, sometimes it's a bit like getting on a bike or getting back on a horse. It kind of takes a leap of faith to explore that. So my absolute advice for you is start working with clients. You'll know within the first 2 or 3 sessions whether I'm right, and that healing field is really just something that you can so gracefully and easily work with again, or whether you still feel you need a bit more time to process, which of course is fine as well. So Katie, big question. How do you intentionally set up the field? Yeah, we got a 2-day class on that topic, so I can't cover it all now. But one of the things that really makes a massive difference is just being aware of it. So even what we've been talking about, the fact that I've shared that a different energy comes in when you work consciously with it, then that can be a beautiful way to actually engender that. I'm going to share an exercise in a minute that I hope will really help that even more, because it's a very, very important question. Let me see if there's something else I want to say about that. One thing that I always have in a space I'm working in is something that represents that healing field or represents the center of my work. Yeah. So that might be, well, you can tell me what it would be for you, Katie, but it might be something that you've gone for a walk and you're walking and you're thinking about this concept of a healing field or a therapeutic field. You're thinking about the way that that energy field of healing has an organizing force and memory in it. That's what's so astonishing about the healing field. It's not something that me and a client create again and again and again, new every time. It's actually a field that is already in play, already in force, that I simply tap into. And when I tap into it, when you tap into it, then you create it as well. And I can't give you all of the fancy quantum physics for it. You can research that yourself. But what happens then is that we're working in a field of information. One of the beautiful things to have is to have something that symbolizes or represents that field. It might be a picture of your teacher. That's a wonderful, wonderful way to bring in. So for those of you who are trained by Donna Eden, you might have a beautiful little picture of Donna that is with you in your workplace. Because of course, Donna had her teachers. Those people had their teachers. And when we bring something in like a photograph of a teacher or something that reminds you of her and you have that in your room, then you're tapping into that healing field that your teachers have worked in. And that's a very, very powerful way to really just find that place of kind of playing in that field, swim in it. You're there with the information that these amazing, amazing healers brought forward, that they actually downloaded when they were in the field because of the effects of other healers. So suddenly we're in this incredible supportive web. That's cool. All right, let's see if there's any other questions. Yes, I love this, Bev. You say, sometimes when I massage, it's like something happens that is beautiful and I feel everything And then there's times that you know things about the person and this soaring heat happens and you feel like you're vibrating in the same place where you're picking up information, but you're not sure what to do when they ask you when you're picking up. Awesome question, because that is a question of ethics, isn't it? That's a question to say when you're in this healing field, and really sounds like when you're working with massage, you go there. You go into this place that is bigger than just you and just the client. And actually, I'm sure that sometimes when you're working, you feel that coming through you, that maybe your training said, all right, you move your hands in this direction and then you go in a different direction. And actually, as you're working, something intuitive, something empathic really comes through your system instead. So as far as that question of when they ask you what you're picking up, then I have a really simple rule there. Never say anything unless it's part of the healing story. Yeah, that actually whatever words. So let's say I'm working with a client and I feel immense grief. Yeah, very kinesthetic when I work, so I feel things a lot. So I'm feeling this immense grief. First thing I do is make sure it's not mine. Very first thing. And that's a direct question I ask myself in my head. Wow, feeling grief. Okay, I've clocked it. Is it mine or is it the client's? Because often we can shift our own energy when we work. And so suddenly we can be projecting all over the client. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I am sensing grief in you today. Tell me how you're feeling. Are you feeling any grief? And the client's thinking, oh, well, yeah, my friend's cat did recently die and I have felt a bit of grief. And they say, yes. And actually, it's all your stuff that's come up. So the first thing is really check in through your own lens. Yeah. Is it you? Is it the client? The second thing, only say something if it's going to be beneficial for the client's understanding of their healing. And so that's a very simple rule that I have with that. And often I'll just put it into terms of saying something like, wow, I'm feeling some really beautiful energy moving through you. Doesn't need to be anything else. Doesn't have to have any details. Details are dodgy. Yeah. Details often involve your own interpretation, your own metaphors of health. Our perception system often works in metaphors. And that's fine if your metaphor and the client metaphor completely connects, but often it doesn't. And we can potentially say things that will actually plant a question mark in the confidence or the health of the client. So yeah, being really aware. General policy, say very little and make sure it's positive. Katie, you're saying yes, you usually light a candle or you've cleared this space with sage. And sometimes you feel the healing field begins right from when they begin traveling to me. Absolutely. I love that because it does. Of course, when you make the appointment, it's like the dot in that web of the healing field gets active. And from that time on, there's an energy at place that's bringing you to that point of connection. I love it that you write that, Katie. That's exactly it. Ah, and Martina, you use your candle from graduation. Absolutely. That brings good energy to you and your client. That's really true. I want you to think of it as something even bigger than good energy. Yeah. It activates the healing field that now you work within, and you're working within it. So this is a candle from graduation from your Eden Energy Medicine class graduation. And that beautiful ceremony that Titania creates is something that's been used in every graduation class. So you're really tapping into a big healing field there. Absolutely perfect example of a representation of a healing field. All right. So Claire, you had a great question. How do you see the energy consciousness of Mother Earth feeding into the sacred healing energy field? It feels to you so vital and certainly feels and fuels you. We are so blessed. Absolutely. So for someone who's deeply connected to the earth, then that healing field is always going to be a part of it. Let's say someone is deeply connected to the Christ energy and the Christ light. That might not be fueled so much from the earth. That might be something that you're more bringing down from above, or that's really emanating from inside you, that your heart and your connection to the Christ light creates that field. So what I'm saying, Claire, is it doesn't have to be fueled from the earth. It feels to me like it moves between the depth of the earth and the depth of the heavens, and wherever we connect most with it is where we will create it. I hope that makes sense, because we're the access, we are the gateway into that healing field as the practitioner. That is not the client's job to bring that healing field with them. Yeah, that's why they're coming to us. If they bring the healing field with them, we need to pay them. We are the holder of that space. And you know, this concept of sacred space, it's a very, very old one. It's an ancient one, of course, but actually in the 60s, in the kind of big, beautiful New Age movement, then that concept of sacred space became very much jargon that was used. And I think we forgot some of the power of what that actually means. In our generations, we've kind of given it some credence, but we haven't really taken on board that sacred space. We're using the more scientific term of the healing field, but they're the same thing. And when we activate a space into that sacredness, then actually at that point, we bring in the vast potential for any transformation, for any healing. So I'm aware of the time, so let's work with that concept of how to create a healing field in a space that you have. And this is one of the exercises I'm going to be sharing this weekend, but I wanted to give you something for those of you who can't live stream with us. So let's just take a breath. You're going to place your hands wherever you want to on your body. So maybe your thighs, especially if you need a bit of help with your groundedness, or maybe your heart, and just relax your body. Maybe I'm aware I've had a very busy day, so first let's just greet our body. Say, wow, hi body. Thank you for everything you've done for me today. Allow your breath to find the places in your body that you've not greeted yet, or that you've held tension in today. When you're ready, you're going to place both hands over your abdomen, the lower abdomen, so that space between your navel and your pubic bone. And let's just hold that, cradle that area. Such a powerful, powerful part of your energy system. So breathe into that place, relaxing your tummy muscles. Relaxing the lower back muscles as well, so all of this space can fill. In the Celtic tradition, this is the home of the lower cauldron. So you can imagine that beautiful big cauldron filled with energy, with health, with immense potential. The Chinese medical understandings would put this as the lower dantian, and it's exactly the same as that cauldron. So you're connecting into this lower cauldron, this lower dantian. I want you to visualize, imagine, feel, think that there is light that's moving from your hands into that lower dantian, that lower cauldron. You can see it, that beautiful energy center behind the belly button, down to the pubic bone, right back to the spine. That beautiful ball of energy is getting filled with the light that you're radiating from your hands. Your breath is also fueling that light. As you breathe in, you're going to be giving fresh energy into that glorious ball. This ball of energy, of your physical power. and of all potential. Keep breathing it in there, shining that light into that magnificent place. Maybe you feel that that ball of energy is getting more vital, more vibrant. Maybe it feels like it's getting bigger. And while you're still sending, lasering, shining that light into that ball from your hands, you're going to begin to invite, as you breathe out, you're going to invite that light to radiate out through the rest of the abdomen, through your skin, through the very hands that are sending light back in still, through your back, through the pelvic area. Breathing in as you stoke the energy up more, and breathing it out as you move that radiant energy, that immense, beautiful light of potential off your body now and moving, allowing it to radiate from its core all the way into your biofield, your aura. And just allow your breath to fuel it. Allow your visualization and your intention to continue to fuel the light from your hands into that beautiful ball, until it feels like your whole biofield is radiating with that light. And from there, just take your conscious mind to the room that you're in right now. Just check in, where are the walls, where are the corners? And now you're going to invite, as you breathe in, you're going to invite that light to move from your biofield out into the room. Breathing in the fresh energy, still sending light from your hands into that amazing ball of light. So that you have aligned your energy with the refreshed and radiant energy of the room that you are in. Let's take 3 more breaths here, each one still fueling and energizing that ball of light, and each breath out allowing it to continue to radiate out into the room. And when you're ready, you're going to gradually bring your awareness back to the here and now. Maybe let's just place our hands on our heart. And you can just call that beautiful, radiant light back towards you, visualizing that beautiful, immense light settling back through your aura and back into your body field. Lovely. So that exercise of radiant alignment is an amazing way to set that healing field in the treatment room that you're going to be working with. Honestly, it's an amazing way to work with your own energy fields as well. So practice it. Do it when you have a few minutes, when you maybe go to bed before you sleep. Just find that beautiful energy. Send the energy from your hands. Activate that. It really helps recharge your own battery as well. That lower dantian, that lower cauldron, is where your physical energy comes from. And from that place of physicality, it then fuels the other vibrations in your body, the energetic and the sacred or the spiritual. But you've got to start in the physical. So that is an incredible way to actually help you connect and create that healing field in your treatment room before your client walks in. All right. Well, we've gone a few minutes over, but I'm so grateful that I had a chance to share that with you. I really, really hope you can join me this weekend. The live stream is on from Saturday morning until Sunday afternoon. And of course, you can watch it as many times as you wish after that. Details at my website, pruneharris.com. And yeah, I can't wait to see you and to share more time with you. And I'll see you on Facebook again in a couple of weeks. All right. Much love. Bye-bye.